Hey everybody, happy new year. And I hope that you had an amazing holiday season. And I hope that you're excited to get back into this issue of Staffing Monthly as we try to kick the year off right. And I am really excited about what we've accomplished last year, the knowledge we've shared, the people that we've brought to you to share best practices. And I'm even more excited about what we have in store. We have some really, really cool things coming up this year. And I have heard some early feedback on the content that we're going to be focusing on this year, and people they're flat out excited. They are just thrilled with what we have in store. So stay tuned, definitely stay dialed into Staffing Monthly, and you will not be disappointed. Now, as you can see right here, we are declaring that 2023 is the year of the referral. And what this means is we are going to be going all in on helping you improve your candidate flow, your candidate pipeline by building out better employee referrals, by actually building out a better program, teaching you how to do that, and really be focused on bringing in the best, brightest thought leaders in this space, because this really is going to be the next most impactful frontier in staffing this year, is making sure that you're getting as much talent from referrals as you possibly can. And some of the reasons that I share this, and this is something that I'm really excited about, you're going to get more information on this in the coming months, but I had an opportunity to host a private workshop with Krista Garver, who shared some information about this topic, about referrals and why they're so important. And looking at the industry data, there's two pieces that really blew me away. One, only 16% of job seekers last year found their job through a job board, which, when you think about how reliant staffing agencies are on job boards, that seems crazy to me, that only 16% of job seekers claim that they found their new job through a job board, right? So if you think about that, that means there's 84% of the market that found it some other way than a job board. Yet another area that was mind-blowing to me is that the price or cost of candidate acquisition via job boards actually grew 43% last year, yet the amount of talent available on job boards only grew by 3%. And when you think about that contrast, that the cost is actually going up exponentially greater than that of what the availability of talent is, that's a problem, right? That means that you're going to be compressing your margins. You're not going to be able to deliver as much. So we have to find this talent somewhere else. And when you actually take a closer look at the data that showcases how many people actually found their job via referrals, it's startling. It really is mind-blowing to see what this in fact is. So we're going to get a lot more into that as we dedicate this year to the referral and actually making sure that you can get more talent with that. So stay tuned for that. You're going to see some cool things this month. We have something special in store next month, and then March, really, really special episode coming up. That being said, I want to kick the year off right now. I want to kick it off with a topic that seemed to resonate really well with some recent training sessions that I did, and that is about organizational planning. I'm not sure exactly who needs to hear this. I never know what kind of status or where anybody is when it comes to planning out your organization. But one of the most effective things that any agency can do to grow and achieve their goals is to grow the people of their organization, right? That is really the only way that any business grows. And frankly, it's the only competitive advantage that any of us actually have is our people, right? Now, it's not just the people, but it's actually how they perform. It's the tools that we equip them with and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's how those people actually work within our systems and how they use those tools that we equip them with. So we have to grow our people through skill sets, mastery, all of that stuff in order for us to grow the organization. And with that, I feel like there's one area that is it's an age-old business tool called the org chart, organization chart. Most of us have heard of that. Not everyone uses it. But this is a tool that I feel like is a missed opportunity. I feel like there's a way that you can actually use this to really benefit your organization in multiple ways. Okay, one, if you're not using an org chart, you should at least do that. You should map out your organization all the way down, from your board of directors all the way down to every producer. They should be mapped out in your organization so you can just clearly see, who is working in your organization, what areas or departments are they working in, what is their title or role that they are performing for your organization. And then supporting this, kind of not on the org chart, but supporting it, you should have a thorough job description for each one of those roles. And that job description should not be something that you just ripped off Google and kind of modified to fit your title or role. It should be something that you actually take the time to describe the work that's being done. And more importantly, the deliverables that you expect out of that role as they align with your organization's goals for the year, right? And then the thing that underpins or supports the contributions or the outputs of those positions are the skills, right? What are the skills and techniques that these people are going to need to perform in their daily role to get to that level of output or get to that contribution that you need to hit your goals? And this is a huge thing, because this is where you start to know, how do I train and develop my people and properly support my people as I grow them up through the org chart? So it's just a good way to actually identify that. The next two areas where I don't see many organizations actually utilize the org chart for this purpose, which I think, again, is a huge missed opportunity, is one, succession planning, and very closely aligned to that is actually identifying threats within your business if you were to lose a key person, okay? And I actually want to show you just a quick demonstration of what this looks like in my world. So I'm just going to share my screen really quickly and actually walk you through a quick example of this. So at this point, you should see a spreadsheet, and this is just mapped out this way because it's easier to look at, and it looks like your typical org chart at first pass. You have your board of directors up here, you've got CEO, COO, CFO. I know there's different terminology for different agencies. Everyone uses maybe different management structure, but this is just a very general one, most commonly found, where you might have a regional manager that oversees multiple offices. I'm only going to be showing 2 offices just to keep things simple on the screen here. But this regional manager might be managing a couple of offices, and each one of those offices might have a few employees, serving different roles in here, right? And just to kind of walk through this for our example here, each one of our branches is going to be made up of a recruiter. And this is someone that, their job description might be sourcing talent, doing some of the initial vetting and really creating a curated list of qualified talent for the account managers to submit to the recs of the clients, right? It could be a model like this. And we might have a salesperson attached to a branch. Salespeople might operate in a different silo, depending on your model. But for this right here, we're just looking at these 2 branches under this style because it's really not so much how this is mapped out that I want to focus on. I want to focus on the actual tool of succession planning. So if you have an org chart, well, if you don't have an org chart, definitely get one. But if you do have an org chart, consider adding beneath these names and titles. Like here we have an account manager, and this is our person that's in that account manager role. Consider adding a box right below it, okay? And I want to show you how this works. Okay, let's just look at, this branch over here. In the recruiter role, we've got Lady Gaga, right? She's in there, she's recruiting, she's sourcing, she's doing all of this work, making sure there's an incredible curated talent pool for our account managers to be submitting to the clients. Another role we might have in a branch is a junior account manager. This is somebody that has likely performed the role of recruiter. They have done that job and they have moved up into that junior account manager role as part of their career development. And they're shadowing or working with or assisting the account manager. They're being copied on emails to clients. They're sitting in on review meetings of candidates. They're working with the candidates to get in place. They're doing some of those things to get used to the job of an account manager so they can actually start to develop and learn those skills and start to get comprehension of the skills and techniques necessary to do the job, and eventually mastery of those skills, which is when they would be eligible to be promoted into the full account manager role, right? So you can see this progression here. It's like, okay, we actually have Miley Cyrus as the junior account manager, and she's doing a great job. We're working with her on skill development, technique development. She understands the tools that we're using, and she's doing a great job. And you can see that she is the rightful successor to Dua Lipa. Okay, so in that role there, we know we have her identified. So we know that if Dua leaves, or we promote her up, we know that Miley Cyrus is being trained to backfill that role. So that is a great thing. It shows succession planning up through the organization. This is something that you can work with your employees on and say, hey, this is the path that you could take through the organization for career planning. And then you could actually show them the skills and techniques and experience that they need to, create comprehension and mastery with or achieve in order to be promoted into a role. So it becomes very progressive in a sense where they can see how to progress through their career development to achieve different roles in the organization. So it's a good visual aid for your talent. The reason you can see things flagged as yellow and red here is that perhaps we don't view Lady Gaga as a suitable replacement or somebody that can actually fill in for Miley Cyrus, right? In our junior account manager role. For whatever reason, maybe they're just going to stay in that role. Maybe that's where they want to live. They don't want to grow any further in the organization, or maybe they don't have the skills to really go there, but they're good where they're at. Or maybe you just haven't started developing that person, so you've not felt confident enough to identify them as a potential successor. So it leaves this blank here. The reason it's red, this goes to the second underutilized feature of an org chart, is it points out a threat to your organization. If Miley Cyrus were to leave, there's nobody prepared to step into that role, which means you would have to hire somebody new. The learning curve is going to kill you. Production's going to dip. Duo's going to have to take on more work. Morale's going to dive. So you really don't want to put yourself in that situation, which is why you should flag on your org chart, where are the threats? Where are the gaps in your org chart where you could not quickly replace somebody if somebody left, right? The reason that Miley is highlighted in yellow is because if Dua left and Miley stepped in, it's indicating that back here, you're going to run into an issue, right? That's why it says, okay, well, if this succession transaction happened, if for some reason, if Dua got promoted up or whatnot, you would actually be stuck back here further down the chain, right? So you flag that stuff right there. Now, if we're looking at this, on this side, if we look to the regional level, our regional manager is Taylor Swift, right? And you can see that we are actually, have Harry Styles in waiting. This is somebody that is actually looking to be trained for this role coming up out of this area of the org chart. And we can see that Taylor Swift is a natural fit to replace Bob Marley as COO someday, right? So we start working on those things right here. We can see this natural transition. And if we look at the CEO, Kenny Chesney, here we identify, hey, Mariah Carey might be the next best replacement coming out of the CFO suite versus the COO. It's like, hey, we think that Mariah might make the best, CEO. She's being trained for it. She's demonstrating comprehension and some level of mastery for the necessary skills. But again, we've got a threat over here because we don't have anyone backfilling Mariah's role, right? So we've identified that potential threat there. And that's why this is flagged yellow. And you can see this, if you use this tool effectively, you'll actually be able to, one, create visual, career paths for your people, align it to the job descriptions that they would have to grow into based on developing skills and techniques, a level of mastery in there to be able to move up. So it's a natural progression, and it shows people how they need to be invested in the development of their own career. And it also points out the threats that you might have in your organization if somebody were to suddenly leave. And you would have to know, like, who is going to be backfilling that person, right? So that is a key use of the org chart. It is a really solid tool to actually be doing succession planning and working with your people. And again, every one of these roles in here, regional manager, branch manager, you should have a thorough job description, one that you've actually put together that actually describes the job that role does for your company, down to the skills, techniques, experience, all that stuff that you need, the deliverables that you need that role to contribute to your organization and the organizational goals, right? That is going to be a big part supporting this as you work through the career development of your people. And I just felt like I wanted to share that because really it goes to the core of success. And there is no success without a successor, right? And that is a key lesson that you have to learn in your business. And if I'm talking to the owners out there, you can do the same thing at your role. If you're in an owner operator role and you're sitting in that CEO chair or that COO chair, whatever it might be, and you're wearing those dual hats, Like you can use this same exact technique to map out who is it going to be that you can promote up into that seat so you can elevate to that board role and sit in that strategic position as maybe your retirement plan, right? So this is a technique that is very effective for, managing your business as far as developing your people and identifying some gaps in talent that might leave you in a bind if somebody was to leave. So just wanted to share that. That was something that was found very useful when we were at a retreat not too long ago, and I thought that you all could benefit from that too. So I hope you found value in that right there as well.